Hey, my Nova Bites! Time Travelers Nova and Rats here, and welcome to Don't Eat the Cashier, a game where you work a minimum wage job at a gas station and you meet, let's just say, otherworldly customers. The developer has stated that there's going to be more to this game, and this looks interesting. What are my pronouns? I go by he, him. Your pronouns are he, him. Type 1 is my body shape. You have body type 1. What is your name? My name is Temporal. Yep. Sometimes I really wonder, how did I end up here? Not that I dreamed of a career as a neurosurgeon or an astronaut, but for crying out loud, working at a gas station? On the other hand, money is money. I sent out resumes to every conceivable and inconceivable place, applying for every position I could somehow with my degree in art. 0 responses. I had to swallow my pride and find something at least. That's how every job market is now. I found this note stuck to the glass of the bus stop. Food for mouth. Seriously, this guy's got style of his own. Human organism wanted for work at gas station. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. Why would you call a human an organism? Apparently, the manager is just some eccentric dude. Or is this their new marketing tactic to grab attention? Whatever. People often told me that I have my quirks too. And that's even if they hadn't seen my fursuit. Well, whatever. As long as he's not a complete jerk who'll hit on me or make me scrub the floors with a toothbrush. Whoa. I didn't scream. I couldn't move. My brain feverishly tried to find any category for this in its database. Hallucination? Psychosis? Too many energy drinks? A typical middle manager? The monster from my nightmare stirred. Its tentacles crept closer to the counter. My God. The creature made a sound. Not from a mouth. It had none. The sound emanated from deep within its bulk, hollow, profound bone shaking. Greetings, organism. I am Biob, the indestructible and terrifying consumer of worlds. But you, grain of sand, may call me Manager Bob. No. This isn't real. I'm dreaming. I need to wake up. You will sell food for mouths and obey me, for I am ancient. Memorize the rules of this establishment, for my patience is as limited as the salary I offer you. Rule number 1. You sell, no matter what, chicken food for the mouth, gremlin fuel, noodles made from cursed souls. Is that a tentacle or an eyeball? Or, is that one of those suckers or eyeballs? It reminds me of one of those monsters that have those eyes for hands. I don't know the proper name for it. Lottery tickets for extra limb raffles, discount rots, ritual foil, everything must be sold. He points directly at me with that creepy, slimy tentacle. Every miserable unit of currency brings me closer to my triumphant exit from this pitiful hole. I pinched myself, but didn't wake up. Rule number 1. Be polite to customers. Ignore bold spots in werewolf fur, and watch out for the drafts when ectoplasmic energetic entities are in the store. What? But don't let them get too bold. Customers are just walking containers for currency. And they should only pay in monetary units. Payment in existential dread or hair of the dead is not accepted. Many of them come here just to chat because they are idle and purposeless organisms. Your task is to make them part with their currency anyway. It is also your duty to heal organisms if they are injured using special kits. If they die, they can't give away currency. Werewolves. I would silently tremble in fear, but I want to save. All of this just doesn't fit in my head. I'm shaking so much that the cheap plastic badge pinned to my uniform rattles. I am the embodiment of pure, unadulterated terror. This is the correct reaction when confronted with a superior entity. Your fear is evidenced by a functional survival instinct. However, it is completely unacceptable. Many of our customers enjoy seeing a smiling muscle spasm on the face of the serving organism. Demonstrate a crooked muscle spasm. Okay, I'll demonstrate a crooked, smiling muscle spasm, whatever that is. I gather all my remaining motor control that isn't currently engaged in convulsions. Then I take a shaky breath and attempt to smile. The corners of my mouth twitch upwards, but not in sync. I feel one side higher than the other. Acceptable. The asymmetry is a bit distracting, but the main muscle groups are activated in the correct configuration. You have successfully created a smile. Maintain this configuration in all customer interactions. He suddenly places a jar in front of me on the counter. And the last rule. Remember, organism, tip container. This tip container must be filled with money by the end of your wake cycle. If the bottom jar is visible, you will clean the sanitary rooms with this object in the dimension of absolute horrors and suffering for 2,510 years. I couldn't take my eyes off the fork, the potential tool of my eternal servitude. At this moment, my mind is fully catapulted. Yes, I was hired by a multi-eyed cosmic architect squid. Yes, my clients will be non-humans. Yes, I'm being threatened with a fork and eternal toilet cleaning. How could anyone clean anything with a fork? I would have preferred a toothbrush. That one is far easier than a fork. The same will happen if you even think of escaping before the end of your work contract. My ocular cerebrum perceives the subtlest of matters. It will detect you in any corners of this pitiful planetary sphere. Crap, I'm stuck here. I'm in a trap. Do you understand, organism? Yes, sir. Wait, 2,510. Why not 2,511? I would react realistically. Yes, sir. Acceptable. Goodbye, organism. Good luck in your currency acquisition and button pressing. We're not going to annoy him. I think we can handle this perfectly. Adequate. Your willingness to fulfill your work duties deserves my emotional approval. Human entity, you are acceptable. If you expect a monetary reward instead of an emotional one, you need to immediately reconsider your moral compass. Greed is a highly condemned trait for a human organism. This concludes the briefing. Do not tremble anymore and be a brave organism in the future. But if it benefits business, then tremble. He didn't turn around as a human would. His tentacles simply shifted his entire mass in another direction with a soft gurgling sound, and he waddled across the linoleum. Finally, he left me alone. The silence at the gas station was broken by only the hum of refrigerators containing juicy juices, and the buzzing of the neon lamp above my head. Sounds weird. I stood in the same spot as if rooted to the ground. My breath returned to me in a sharp, uneven gasp. My hands were shaking. The tip jar, which I needed to fill to avoid ending up in a dimension of ancient horrors, stood proudly on the counter. Okay, so what just happened? Option 1. I've gone insane. That is the most logical conclusion. Prolonged stress from job hunting, malnutrition, nerves, anxiety, a disrupted sleep schedule. My brain just malfunctioned. Yes, that's it. I'm going to wake up on my couch in my dingy rented apartment. I pinched myself again, and nothing. I scanned the room once more. It smelled of gasoline and old coffee. It was still absurdly real. And that meant everything he said, if it was all true. Werewolves, vampires, tips, the fork. A hysterical mix of laughter and a scream of terror welled up in my throat, but I held it back. I needed to get through this. I needed to... Oh no. Don't tell me that's the first customer. Who is it? Bells? What the hell? Shit! Where the hell did this clown come from? It took great effort not to look away from those red, burning eyes in the pitch-black darkness. Is he amused? Is he wondering if I'm tasty? Bob didn't exactly give me any guarantees that I wouldn't get devoured at work. My brain, still recovering from the encounter with Bob, was frantically trying to figure out how to break this ringing silence. You can't just appear like that. Is it strange that we're going to act professional, even though we would be scared in this moment. Purchase? I would like to purchase your attention. Oh, we can flirt. I suppose that's... You know, I want to flirt to see what happens. For me, only for me, you spoil me. To receive such an exclusive treasure released in a limited edition, I feel like a king. Although, am I not already a king? No matter. I never felt more regal than I do now. Well, I accept this generous offer, but a deal requires balance, doesn't it? In exchange for your attention, you shall receive mine. Hooray? My god, another crazy person with a strange way of speaking. And it seems he's in a mood for a chat. So, what's a beautiful, handsome gentleman like you doing in such a dreadful, dirty island of misfortune? Or rather, what is a place like this doing with such a handsome gentleman as you? Oh wait, where are my manners? I suppose I must introduce myself. I have many names, most of which are not fit to be spoken in the company of a lovely gentleman. The nicest I've heard is the Mad King, a title I plan to pass from me to myself for the coming centuries. However, my mortal mother named me Darien. Now, may I have your hand? We'll go along. Let's offer him our hand. He suddenly bows his head and presses his lips to my knuckles. Meeting you is truly a pleasure. His lips are cold, yet a ghastly warmth spreads across my skin. So here I am, dealing with a real gentleman. How lovely. Or a king, as he calls himself. Of all the kings and emperors locked in their soft chambers, this one has probably found a way to escape. May I know your name? I don't immediately realize he's asking me a question, still in a gaze from that gentlemanly kiss. Wait, Big D. Sounds like a rapper's name. King of the gas station, no. We'll stay professional. Ah, my dear Temporal, you are so polite. He seems to savor my name. It sends shivers down my spine. And that politeness again, as dry and bland as the rations I give my soldiers. The most creaky of all the decrees I've signed. And I've signed decrees that required people to weave ropes from sand, just for fun, mostly mine. Polite people never risk anything. No friends, no enemies. How is that interesting? Imagine how wonderful it would be if we became enemies. Those would be the most interesting few seconds of your life. Or friends. Then it would be a delightful eternity. Or lovers. Offer him a friendly pinky finger. We're going to flirt still. He blinks. Once, twice. What a delightful little twist in our scripts. Did I just fluster him? My sunshine, you burn me. Such bravery to flirt with someone who can turn your bones into licorice with a snap of his fingers. He's so flustered that he shifted to a more informal tone. Well, well. I feel my brain is like turning into jelly. And I don't understand when we finally get to the point. Actually, it's not all that bad. Maybe I've just been spoiled by all those mangas about sinister and tragic monsters. Though the only tragic thing about this client so far is his tragic unwillingness to buy my discount rot. So, let's finally get to the purpose of my visit. Finally. It's completely unknown to me. Ah, for crying out loud. There's nothing interesting in the assortment of this pathetic shack, except for you, so I'm buying your time. Let's have dinner. I'm sure you must be hungry. Oh no. You better not have human organs for dinner, or whatever things or weird things you eat. Allow me to create a more pleasant atmosphere for us. I'm shivering from the gust of icy wind. He just teleported half of my gas station to a radioactive dump. Or a radioactive dump to my gas station. And the jar is gone. My freaking jar! But please put the jar back to where it was. You really don't like change, do you? But life is ever-changing. Life is not a stone, my dear. Life is water. But since you don't like this current, so be it. Let us find something less populated by mutants. I can't go long without familiar landscapes. Already ruined lands make me melancholic because all of the fun has happened without me. Disgusting. Allow me. Ooh, this is a much better atmosphere. This is something seemingly less radioactive. Amazingly, I haven't thrown up yet. It feels like I've been flushed twice through an interdimensional toilet. I clear my throat. Seems like I'm sitting at a table. Much better, wouldn't you agree? Couldn't be better. This is still... No. This is better. It's beautiful here, and strange. Is this your home? Words of a true poet, Temporal. My two favorite categories, strange and beautiful. This place is much more than a home. It's my cage, and my greatest canvas for creativity. Every ugly tree, every mad toad, every eye-bearing mushroom, it's all in a place of me. A marvelous place, especially when the rocks grow legs and start running. Including those that people make their homes out of. And now, you're part of this place too. Isn't it wonderful? I'm slowly getting used to the landscape. The fireflies here are quite charming. But I'd be better without that frog or a human face. Oh, I see it now. The frog notices me too. It lets out a sad croak and then looks at me with an expression of deep existential despair. Like, yeah, who is that? That's Lori, one of the brave souls who dared to challenge my authority. My dear friend, who once walked the path of adventure. However, he didn't foresee the possibility of being turned into a frog on a whim. He even tried to wield a sword with his tiny froggy legs. Fought to the end, a true warrior. Now, however, his foes are mosquitoes and bigger frogs. Tell me, dear, does he bother you? His little existential froggy graces? I mean, is it ruining the ambience? He looks at me with an interested expression. Okay, save here. Maybe... Yeah, I don't mind, Lori. You don't mind? Excellent. I think he really sets the tone for the whole clearing, aesthetically. A living monument to the consequences of poor life choices. Lori, did you hear that? The Lord grants you a stay of execution. You may continue your pitiful mosquito-infested existence. So, dinner. I'm sure you must be starving. Traveling between realities must be exhausting. This looks strange, but it smells delicious. Meat with honey? Sounds good. And next to the meat, a purple soup, possibly made from a less fortunate cashier. Whether the food is poisoned or not, if I refuse, His Highness might turn me into a frog too. So I pick up a fork from the table. And this is the most delicious thing I ever tasted. It's 100 times better than those cheap instant noodles I buy in supermarkets. Medium well steak with honey. That's my favorite. I don't know what you Novabites' favorite steak temperatures are, but mine is medium well. Even the fact that I'm currently in some other universe surprisingly doesn't seem to harm my appetite. It seems you enjoy your cuisine. My chefs have always managed to cook well, on those occasions when I noticed it. I assure you, you won't regret this dinner, at least not for the first half hour after the meal. Well, yes, thank you. You're very kind. I'm merely hospitable. I'm delighted to share a meal with a dear guest who clearly appreciates good food. But I suppose cheap Chinese noodles would make you appreciate everything. Please, eat your fill. And don't hesitate to stash what you don't eat in your pockets. It will give you an exquisite aroma and provide a few interesting, mysterious stains. I poke at the food with my fork and watch the peculiar scenery from the corner of my eye. A silence hangs between us that might even be called cozy. Were I under heavy narcotics, I would just continue eating. But what is your favorite animal? Glad you asked. It's right here on our plate. Just kidding. But I do need some time to think. Let's see. The riding flea has its own charms. Very disgusting ones. Carnivorous butterflies are beautiful, but they're dumb and noisy. And as we know, what's empty inside makes a noise, or what's in my head, it's always ringing. I think it's a dog. It loves its owner with all its heart, whether they're a saint or a serial killer, and doesn't notice the difference. It lives in a constant joyful state of blissful ignorance and misplaced enthusiasm. A creature that finds endless joy in the utter meaningless. It's truly inspiring. Dogs are the gestures of the animal world, and I adore them for it. Especially the small, wrinkly ones. So... And what about you? Well, my favorite animal would be the turtle, but... we'll still play along, cats. Oh, indeed. They are the true rulers of this reality, tiny furry gods of apathy and disdain. And we are their obedient, foolish caretakers. But I've been lucky enough to escape their tyranny and instead enjoy my own, and feed those around me. I return to my meal, and just as I chew another bite, I hear His Highness's voice. By the way, how does the meat taste? Is the human flesh tender enough? Oh, so we're eating humans, apparently. My fork freezes halfway. What? Why the hell is there human flesh on my plate? Bravo! Righteous anger is a wonderful seasoning for any dinner. Calm down, my beautiful fiery juggernaut. It's just a little joke. It's just venison. As far as I can tell by taste, not very intelligent. It's definitely not Timmy, our carpenter, who unexpectedly disappeared near the lodge kitchen cauldron. Perfectly sized to fit in it, definitely not. I personally issued several decrees related to cannibalism, perhaps even concerning its prohibition. But that's besides the point. I rarely have visitors, and I like to tell you about other interesting guests. After all, it's the most fascinating thing I could share with you. For a place where mushrooms with eyes grow, it can be incredibly dull here. Shadows in the clearing thicken and stir. They detach from the garnered trees, rising up from the ground like black ink and spread across the wall. Dancing and intertwining, they prepare to perform at their master's whim. Behold, this incredibly crooked castle, my dear. Crooked to the point of absurdity, sadly. In reality, its curves looked far more aesthetic, but give the creator some leeway for expressiveness. Many brave and not so bright souls have tried to conquer this terrifying, dark, eerie, crooked castle, so many that it became even more crooked. You see, this dreadful monster living there never liked being distracted from its important duties. Terribly important duties, like having long, deep conversations with its own reflection, or concocting recipes with raisins. We'll still listen silently. The monster was a tyrant, a menace. He sowed chaos and disorder, mostly on purpose. He had countless opportunities for creativity and wasn't afraid to use them. He made some people believe they were pigeons and others that they were grains. He wouldn't allow his best servants to have windows, fearing that the moon and both suns would get envious and want to take them away. And he demanded they seal the gaps in the doors as well. He locked wizards who came to him for magical gifts in a giant laboratory and promised them power if they invented a kettle that could boil everything except water. Did they eventually invent the kettle? Invent it? Oh, they did much more. After 11 years of failed prototypes, a few explosions, and chemicals running down on their own legs, they succeeded. The kettle could boil even bright memories, but not water. Water would instantly freeze, explode, and file for divorce. Interesting comparison there. I immediately rewarded them with a new invention idea. A cup of a sealed top and without a bottom. Let's see how they handled that. But I digress. But behold, a ray of light in the Dark Kingdom. The first hero, Sir Lori the Righteous in all his clanging self-important glory. He took a knee to rest briefly because of the weight of his righteousness was bad for the health of his poor back. Following rumors spread by the same monster, he fought his way through the monster's loyal subjects to... By the way, where did he even find them? Most of my subjects are too busy contemplating the color of suspenders for their suspenders, or laminating their fate. I cherish them for their imperfection. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They were probably the most restless of them. Every story needs minions. In any case, our hero descended into the Grotto of Despair. The Grotto of Tentacles. Imagine the most sinister name you can conjure. The Grotto of Kidney Stones, the Grotto of Despair, or the Grotto of my parents' disappointment in me. Probably my parents' disappointment in me. Oh, but if they could see you now, you're at a royal audience. They would be proud of you. No, actually, they wouldn't be proud if they got to know me better. But in that case, it's good too. You wouldn't be alone under the weight of the disappointment. But let's not get sidetracked. Into the grotto of your parents' disappointment in you, our hero descended to retrieve an artifact capable of defeating the Monster King. The Ring of Incredible Power. A bit shoddily crafted, but I assure you it looks more aesthetic in real life. However, the brave knights didn't know that the incredible power of the ring lay in its 440-pound weight. This was its only magical property. The only incredible thing about this ring was its incredible stupidity. It was its incredible stupidity and uselessness. The realization that he had spent weeks of his life on a divinely heavy paperweight, and then the sudden crushing thought that he shouldn't have become a baker, that he should have become a baker instead of a hero, just to get some sleep. Well, it broke his poor noble mind. Not that his mind was ever intended for serious burdens. Let's continue with the story. So, the knight perished. But then came along the Elmer Eagle Eye. They saw he earned his nickname by escaping from an enemy fortress. On the third day of his captivity, he noticed that his prison cell was lacking the fourth wall. An ultra of legendary skill who tried to kill me with a precise shot, constantly, during breakfast, while bathing, at balls, during sleep, and even while I was divesting a plan to get rid of him. The audacity. I hate just killing them. Turning them into madmen was much more fun. And I bestowed a little curse upon the elf as well. I made it so that every time he drew his bowstring, he'd hear the most annoying melody to his ears. Shinji reference! Elmer was a terrible racist. He hated dwarves. So naturally the melody became the national anthem of the dwarves, played in a loop by a bagpipe orchestra. The pure rage it provoked derailed his aim every time. Eventually, he stormed the castle, dropped his bow, and begged for a job at my court in exchange for changing the song to anything else. He was desperate, and I was a villain. Everything aligned incredibly well. Now, he's my royal huntsman. The dwarf march is replaced with a lively elven sea shanty, and let no one dare accuse me of being callous and heartless. Now he has a salary, good food, clothing, entertainment, and a full guarantee of non-dismemberment. It was a happy ending, right? For me, absolutely. I never had such a good hunter in my life. I've never quite figured out where he gets all of those species of animals, but no matter. And finally, the witch. In a classic giant hat under which you could easily fit another witch. She tried a different approach, seduction. She attempted to charm me, to gain my trust, to become my spouse. A fatal miscalculation. She didn't even consider the fact that I never trusted big hats, or people, especially when both come hand in hand. And those who wear suspenders and a belt at the same time. A person who doesn't even trust their own bonds certainly doesn't even earn the trust of His Highness. Then again, I don't trust His Highness either. I don't trust myself, especially the left side of my brain. Especially on Thursdays, but back to hats. Well, hats don't invoke any particular feelings in me. No love, no hate, not even mild annoyance. Really? I suggested you quickly develop a strong opinion about them. They say it's a highly entertaining hobby, and useless. Like any good hobby. Meanwhile, the witch was quite overt in her murderous intentions, jingling with all of her concealed weapons. Why does a witch need so many hidden blades? She must have been very bad at witchery. In any case, she now resides in my dungeon. And you see, I haven't decided what to do with her yet. Her fate is a blank state, a story yet to be written. So, I offer you the pen. I simply adore random choices. Give me yours, Temporal. Which punishment befits her? What? Does he really want me to decide what to do with a real person? Can I even save her? And does it even matter what I choose? Everything here follows his whims anyway. But as long as I play the circus monkey, I have a chance to get out of here alive. Maybe I should just entertain him? Damn, what should I do? I think the craziest thing would be to spare her. Try turning her into a hat. She tried to murder you after all. The one who lived by a big hat shall become a small hat. The irony is so absurd, it's beautiful. So be it. Let her be a small cap of eternal regret. She tried to get into my hand, and now she can barely cover it. A brilliant sentence. You never told... Yeah, the monster, that's right. Dear, who cares about these monsters anyway? We're not going to pester him, so let's save first. Never mind. The shadow finally dissolved into nothingness. I just turned a living being into a hat, or rather, became the catalyst for it. I wonder what kind of nightmares are warranted in such a case. I'm afraid royal duties await me. Our time is up. I shall send you back to Temporal. I rise from the chair. I squeeze my eyes shut. The light is blinding even with my eyes closed. So unusual after all this darkness. The jar is full of money. It was all worth it.
Greetings, organism. How is your work progressing? I see the first transaction was successful. Acceptable. This still doesn't save you from the threat of cleaning sanitary facilities, but it's a wonderful starting point for your entire tiny life.
He's going to say no if we try to quit anyway. We'll just choose... Work is going well, sir.
Excellent. Maintain this level of productivity. You may be awarded with an additional 5-minute feeding break if you can find food. Rejoice in my generosity. Continue working. I am experiencing a positive emotional reaction. I am proud of you, and I will be even more prouder if you acquire even more currency.
We're not going to sugarcoat it. We'll just say goodbye, Mr. Manager.
My mind departs from you and the organic form follows.
He slaps across the floor to his office. As soon as Bob's rhythmic wet slaps fade away, a deep silence descends on the station. One moment, I'm in a surreal forest, dining on purple goo with a mad god. The next moment, I'm being praised by a multi-eyed tentacle monster. Maybe these are just my deathbed hallucinations. God, give me back my bills, my noodles, my arguments with strangers on the internet. My beautiful, monotonous, bland life. I was foolish not to appreciate it. In the midst of my contemplation, terrifying sounds emanate from my boss's office.
Their bills? In acceptable large numbers?
Of course. What else could upset him so much if not that? Steps. Another visitor. This one decided to come in through the door for a change. He seems unwell. I hope he doesn't knock over my shelves of shampoo with jojoba oil and delicate lilies on his way. He's not just unwell, he looks like hell. Literally. All the skin on his left side is torn off from his jaw to his temple. I swallow nervously. What kind of meat grinder has this guy been through? He looks like someone who could rip me apart if he doesn't like what he hears. I need to be careful if I don't want him to become the next victim. He either looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger from The Terminator, or he's probably based on Jason Voorhees without his mask. I don't know too much about horror films. Yeah, Terminator, exactly. You know, you look like the Terminator at the end of the second movie, buddy. The Terminator who just wrecked my entire floor.
That thumb is going to end up your ass.
Given the threat in that tone, not just the thumb, I wouldn't think any further in that direction. Words clearly come to him with great difficulty, which is probably not surprising for a man without half a face. He clears his throat, but doesn't help much.
I need blood.
He tried to smile. It would be charming if he still had all the necessary muscles for that. Now it will haunt me in my nightmares, among other things. The client pauses again briefly to clear his throat. I don't know what to choose. I'll pick... We don't do IV drops here, sir.
If you don't stop annoying me, no transfusion will help you.
He suddenly leans forward, boring into me with his remaining eye.
Go and find me some goddamn blood.
Let's just go find this damn blood then. A strong pressure builds in my head, and the edges of my vision blur. An unyielding command blossoms in the center of my mind. I don't know why, but I feel an incredibly strong urge to find blood. right now. Where would we find blood in a gas station? Well, there's maybe a first aid kit. Maybe it has a blood pack. My client is covered in blood, but still hungry. Maybe he fought with something inedible. Or is it his own? I find myself in a storeroom. A tangled labyrinth of shelves reaching up to the ceiling, stuffed with boxes, crates, and mysterious cans. In the corner, something rustled and snorted suspiciously. So, where could the blood be? I need to think fast. He's not going to wait forever. Right now, I'm at the very beginning of this crazy place. Bob, where's the blood? Food for mouth. Items that passiveness. Well, what about food for mouth sections? Wait, no. Let me save in case I die here. So go to food for mouth. These signs are driving me insane. I really hope my manager will eventually learn English properly. I'm surrounded by pure madness of anxious packaging, and even in front of the department entrances, there's some baby food for cyborgs piled up. I'm frantically trying to decipher the crooked inscriptions. In front of me are sections with food for mouth. Dense energy blocks for chewing. Infuse nutritional flows. Food afraid of heat. I think this could be blood. Infused nutritional flows. Blood carries oxygen, so I guess oxygen is nutritious? I hope. Here are endless shelves of drinks. Next to Coca-Cola are bottles labeled Liquid Regret and Primal Broth, now with nucleotides. Cans labeled Brapsy, Vodka, Solinko. I'd love to meet the person who came up with these names. I check each shelf, pushing aside cans of essence, of shits and giggles, but find nothing resembling blood. The closest thing is liquid hematogen in a giant wooden container. It smells worse than it looks. I go back. I hear knocking. It's the dry, rhythmic tapping of knuckles on a laminated countertop. It's not loud, but persistent and full of irritation. In front of me are sections with food for mouth. What is food afraid of heat? What's that? The coldest corner of the store. Large freezer chests and refrigerators with glass doors are covered in frost. Next to the frozen pizza are gremlin cryo capsules, and among the buckets of ice cream you can find flavors like minty tritum and liquid family. Oh my god! A huge freezer chamber. Matter of lesser life forms, spare parts of human organisms, products of animal fauna exploitation with fruit pieces. It's either spare parts or matter of lesser life forms. I'm going to go with spare parts of human organisms. This section reeks of formaldehyde and horror. Glass jars filled with murky liquid sits on the shelves where exhibits float. I try not to think about one of the containers holding a name tag that reads Kevin. Wait. Okay, let me read it. Blood of human organism Kevin. Taste of unfulfilled dreams and unwarranted expectations. Blood of homeless. High content of cheap alcohol and tuberculosis. Blood of human organism Michael. Taste of efficient resource and artifact accumulation. I think you'll like this one. The blood in this jar has a rich, almost glowing ruby hue. It looks healthy and full of energy. Michael, whoever you are, you were on top. Champion's blood flowed through you. You were probably something like an energy drink for the undead. And yet, here you are in a jar. There's something to ponder. He abruptly lifts his head as I approach. You, already? His voice carries genuine surprise and clear relief. Well,
Good thing you weren't wandering around for half an hour. Bring it here.
My client finishes the jar and then grimaces.
For crying out loud. What the hell is the scrap?
He reads the note on the jar.
Michael? Well, you were a lucky guy, Michael. Too bad I can't kill him a second time. Tastes like a happy family, a successful career, a retirement account, and the jerk probably never even had cockroaches.
Let's just stay silent.
Cool that you found human blood. Good job. You're sharp.
Glad to please you, sir. No, we'll still act professional. Feel free to ask. He gives me a crooked smile from his newly restored rogue-like face.
I'm going to wash my dirty face. Don't get bored.
While he's not here, I have a perfect opportunity to wipe away the bloodstains. I'm just scrubbing a pool of blood on my first day at work. An interesting story for Reddit. A wonderful tale. I'm doing just fine. Nobody has eaten me. He looks so much fresher with the second half of his face, although his expression still resembles that of a constipated owl.
I'll just stand here for a while, okay? Take a little break. Besides, there's nobody here with you right now. And, just so you know, if you try to contact the werewolves, I'll take your head and crush it like a walnut. I'm David, by the way, a vampire, as you may have already guessed.
What an incredibly interesting way to start an acquaintance. Especially that part about the walnut. I'm Crystal, like champagne. We'll just tell him our real name. Nice to meet you, Temporal.
Okay, Temporal. I knew a Temporal once. He used to trade kidneys in Venice Beach. He was a good boy until he got packed up.
That's quite a coincidence that there's two people with the exact name Temporal. That seems like an uncommon name. He's trying to provoke me, deliberately sharing the dirty details of his life to see how uncomfortable I can get. We're not gonna make him angry. We saw what happens if he's angry. We'll check the catalog for kidneys, and there's exactly 10 categories of them.
A catalog? Do you seriously have a catalog?
He leans forward, genuinely intrigued, peering into the catalog.
Gremlin kidneys? Is that a delicacy? Why does it say both delicacy and fuel and animal venom?
It's a universal product. Want some?
I do.
Looks like I found my best customer for today. Now I have a vampire here, and he's regenerating. Wonderful. The main thing is to not accidentally blurt out something wrong. I need to be friendly. Are you sure you're a vampire, not a chupacabra? They drink blood too? Since when do vampires wear leather jackets? Thanks for not eating me. Well, let's ask him about clothes. I don't think he would be angry about that.
Ruffles? What the hell is that? I'm no Ruffles. What even is that? Some French insult?
His expression is as if I suggested he wear a maid's outfit. He'll defend that worn leather monstrosity at the cost of his life. That's obvious. Ruffles are not just a piece of clothing. They're a concentrated strike right at the core of his cool vampire persona.
I don't wear any ruffles. I'm just 24 years old.
Well, we'll tell him about what ruffles are. From the look on his face, it's clear he doesn't understand a single word of that.
Ruffles are like a lace bib for adults.
I wonder what grade he dropped out of school. I guess you could say that. No ancient, old, and decrepit vampire would be caught dead in a bib in the 21st century. And I certainly wouldn't. In places where I usually hang out, that kind of outfit would definitely attract unwanted attention. And probably and probably from the psych ward nurses. I mentally picture him in ruffles. Maybe that's why he's such a slob. He doesn't wear ruffles. David slightly grimaces as he moves his hand. Damn mutts. Probably not all the wounds have healed completely. And does being a vampire doctor fall under my duties? I think Bob said it was mandatory. Let me help you. He looks at me skeptically. The offer of help is probably so foreign and unexpected to him that it leaves him momentarily dumbfounded. You... what? You want to play nurse? A flicker of confusion is replaced by something more intense. It's just a couple of scratches on a piece of ass that will grow back on its own. I'm fine. Say concurrently, you mentioned werewolves. It's probably not a scratch. Let me help you. Let's help him. I give him a chance to save face. Now we're treating him not because he's a wimp, but because he survived an epic battle. A direct blow to his ego. The guy immediately starts puffing up with pride. His eyes light up. I hope I didn't catch rabies. I decide to remain silent about how he's already pretty rabid. You're a vampire. Aren't you supposed to be immune to diseases anyway, David? 4 against 1 in a narrow alley. You know, there's a myth about werewolves being damn noble, unlike us bloodsuckers. Well, that's a load of crap. One of them was hiding in a trash can, ready to jump out at me. My heart would have definitely stopped dead, if it even still beat. It would have been just ripped apart from a freaking heart attack. I'm afraid I'll never be able to take out the trash again without fearing for my life. Judging by that distant look, he's plagued by flashbacks of what he's been through. David awkwardly moves his injured arm. Alright, hand over your first aid kits. I'm sure this won't be the last pack I'll have to take down. There are way too many stray dogs around here these days. Damn you, go ahead. Get out your band-aids with Dr. Chakula, or whatever you're selling. David sheds his jacket, shirt, and t-shirt, then settles onto a squeaky stool next to a counter. Your body has scars, David. That proves you're both strong and powerful. He's about to face a serious trial, staying in a vulnerable position for a few minutes. For some reason, cruel fate hasn't made him claw-proof. He certainly looks like he was just thrown into a blender. Judging by those bullet scars, he has quite an interesting past, or maybe he was attacked by werewolf cowboys with guns. Most likely the former. By the way, I didn't know that corpses have doctors too. I thought the only doctor available to me now was the coroner. I'm rummaging through the necromancy kits that were sitting under the counter. It's a heavily military-styled metal box with a faded label reading "Kit for Alternatively Living Organisms." Inside, besides standard bandages, there was some strange items. Silver tweezers, vials of thick glowing liquid, additional fingers, and of course, an instruction manual. A cheap, laminated brochure stained with something that looks like coffee. In the instructions, the first point states, Determine whether you are dealing with a zombie. Ask your alternatively living subject if they ever wanted to eat someone's brain. Alternatively living subject. Have you ever wanted to eat someone's brain? What subject? Damn, I'm not, not a subject. It seems I have offended his vampire feelings. He lets out an annoyed sigh for the umpteenth time today. Your brain? Definitely not. Was that a joke about me being dumb? I am, by the way, very smart, and I have a very tasty brain. Not smart enough to understand that vampires don't eat brains. Do you remember Dracula eating brains? No. Did he rise from his coffin and say, "What a lovely evening. I think I'll go munch on some brains"? Stop looking at me like that. I'm not a damn zombie. I'm a vampire. And not even a chupacabra. Zombies are stupid. They can't even talk. They just grunt and groan. I don't get why that's not your that's not in your necrotherapist's guide. Alright, neither of us is a zombie. At least not yet. Let's return to the treatment. I would do a backflip out of joy right now if I didn't have a piece of cloth sticking out of my ankle. I steal a glance at my visitor. I wonder if werewolves just clawed at him or if he managed to kill someone too. My instincts, something out of the Stone Age, suggested that he could have. This guy has a killer gaze. You see someone like him in an alley, your hand automatically reaches for your wallet and phone. I lower my eyes. Next point. Let's establish the nature of the injuries. What kind of wounds could werewolves leave? It's simple. You got lacerations, claw, teeth, and bits of saliva. We'll just be straight with him. He doesn't want any nonsense. David listens to this with the pride of a true soldier. Every word feels like a medal for valor. Something like that. He said that as if he didn't care, but I know better. Stroke his ego at the end. Wounds are for a real rabid beast, buddy. You really need to stop with these fights. They won't lead you to anything good. Let's just move on to the next medical point. I read through what medication I need and grab the regenerating extract for alternatively living life forms. Now all that's left is to apply this stuff. I dip my fingers in the jar and suddenly he grabs my hand. Do something wrong and I'll rip your tonsils out through your ass. Oh, no way, I'm a pathetic, miserable, harmless cashier. This isn't a response, it's a philosophical stance. Concentrated, all-consuming self-pity. Existential catapultation. I just lost my words there. David is lost under its weight. He brought a gun to a duel and didn't expect me to bring he didn't expect me to bring my depression certificate. Well, yeah, you are just that. Watch your hands and try not to let your tears drip on me. I apply this black goo to the wound. A puff of steam rises from the wound and the air starts to smell like something is frying. It's probably very painful, but David remains calm. Not a single complaint, which is surprising. I hope it's not from your squid manager. Well, we all hope for that, buddy. Oh, wait. So wait, if if this is from our squid manager, does he just, like, excrement out healing ink? That's just gross. My movements become slow and deliberate. I do everything cautiously, barely touching the skin around the wound, allowing him to get used to the sting. I can see the tense muscles in his back and shoulders relax slightly. He's still wound up, but relief is starting to wash over him. He likes it, but he's not showing it. Naturally, no thank yous or pleases from him, but at least he's no longer threatening to do something to my ass every 5 seconds. I finish up. Surprisingly, the wounds really are healing. The scars won't beautify this man. Why are you doing all this? The question is asked in an astoundingly serious tone. He's driving me crazy, even more than that clown from earlier, it seems. These are my work obligations. Want tip? Lie, you just want tips to go home and play this. Okay, this seems important. I'll save right here real quick. We'll be truthful, these are just my work obligations. He sighs in relief. Just moments ago, his worldview was practically shaken, but I put everything back in place. That's what I thought. What a pity you still have to do your job. And just 5 minutes ago, this ape didn't even want to get treated. David silently starts to get dressed. Not a word of thanks, not even a dry nod. What a pig. Probably in the wild ape pack he grew up in. Words like thank you was not in use. Just a couple more seconds and he's back in the front of the counter. So the client is fed, clean, and healed. And yet he's still here, not putting any money on the counter, and the tip jar is lacking. I look at him. He's supposed to be full of energy, but instead he looks lost. David is deep in thought, in that dark, gloomy little place that occupies his mind. Are you planning to pitch a tent here? Can I help you with anything else, sir? Step cautiously back. Have you decided to eat me after all? He said he doesn't eat flesh, just he consumes blood. This isn't the best place to crash, buddy, but there's a vampire hotel 2 blocks down. Vampire hotel? David pauses for a couple seconds, as if a vampire hotel actually exists. I pause too. I'm no longer sure if the vampire hotel is just a figment of my twisted imagination when there's a monster gas station. I'm not sure what kind of a world I live in anymore. Get lost with your Hotel Transylvania. That's not the point. I'm curious about one thing. I haven't talked to a regular human in a long time. I wonder, by regular human, does he mean my extremely natural essence? I'm no vampire, werewolf, or thieving gnome. Or does he mean my lack of a criminal record and absence of drug or alcohol dependency? Or maybe he's looking for the perspective of an ordinary worker. A working class person. A gray collar. Does your face always look that funny when you're thinking about something? I didn't even get a chance to respond to his jab before he follows up. Let's conduct an experiment. Suppose you're now a free vampire, able to go wherever you want, do whatever you want. Where would you go? David looks at me expectantly. What weaknesses do I have? It's the sun, obviously. They can live forever, or at least I think they do. Or they have at least a long life cycle. Who were you before the bite? Could you find anyone who wronged you in life and get revenge? Can you find everyone in your life who wronged you? Yeah, a lot of people think about that first. Yeah. That would make sense. But it's a bad idea to leave a trail of bodies of people you know were somehow connected to. And your head quickly fills with other things like, well, the fact that you're dead and it's forever. So after you've been turned, you didn't find everyone who bullied you in school and beat them up? I usually beat them up right at school. Ah, right. You might think I was some kind of bully, constantly pulling pranks, but I was actually quiet in class. Same here, David. Just messing around at the back of class like an invisible man. Until some jerk started picking on me. Once I smashed a globe over a guy's head because he mocked my sneakers. As if wearing clothes from Walmart made me worse than them. Good thing we don't have globes here. David looks at me expectantly. We already know that the sun could essentially burn you. Let's wrap it up with... No, we'll continue questioning him. A whole lot. We're practically a superhero league. I'm sure it never crossed your mind that in reality, bloodsuckers can be way more scary than in sappy movies for girls. Looks like he watched Twilight. Interesting. He does look like a Twilight dude, even though I never seen Twilight. Some of us not only drink human blood, but also capture people to experiment on them. They turn human bodies into a real nightmare of flesh and bones. Dr. Morrow couldn't even imagine. Or Monroe, I think. And there are vampire sorcerers who can rip your soul out of your body and make you work for them for eternity. Literally. Seems like I already have one of those sorcerers. His name is Bob. He's checking his bills. There he is. I wonder what inner strength it took David not to flinch. And there are those who can make your head explode. Literally. With just a glance. But not all of us are such wicked bastards. We don't even have to kill a person to eat. Just drink a little instead of gorging yourself like a pig at the furrow. But some don't care. They just drain all the blood and splash it everywhere. The forensics team is baffled why the person turned into a sprinkler before dying. He seemed to enjoy how cool vampires are. Oh, and that was all the questions for that tree. Which of these do you have? Let me guess, none. Back to your question. Let's ask something else. Yeah, what vamped you? He doesn't answer right away. He just frowns his brows. Several long minutes pass in silence. Some stinking old jerk. A lot is mixed into those 4 words. Like, it's as if he both hates and mourns the old jerk. Probably. The guy wasn't a contender for Father of the Year. I waited for him to continue, but he remained silent. He looks like an angry cornered dog. It's unlike he'll speak up on his own. And what did this stinking old jerk do? Don't call him that, damn it! Don't you dare! The rage in his eyes shifts to confusion. Just for a brief moment before he looks away. I mean, yeah, call him whatever you want, including an old stinking jerk. No, we're not going to provoke him. So what did he do? That jerk suffered from power seizures. That's all there is to say about him. No amount of booze could erase what that damn villain did to my memory. I suppose all vampires are like that. It seems he won't tell me more about his vampire dad. David looks at me expectantly. What weaknesses will I have? Well, no more tanning, no reflection in mirrors. If you were ugly before, it's actually a bonus, right? You can enter without an invitation. Garlic doesn't scare you either. Holy water is trickier. Depends on the situation. A stake works, but piercing your chest would be quite the challenge. Piercing any part of you is literally quite the challenge, actually. Our skin is like steel, unlike a practically persistent werewolf. Unless a particularly persistent werewolf comes along. Well, at least you can enter... Or, no, come on. Wait, what did that say? Hang on. Well, at least you can enter without invitation. No need for unnecessary chit-chat with people. Who were you before the bite? Yeah, I'm kinda curious. Why do you care? The question wasn't about me. Okay, he doesn't want to open up. Why did you watch Twilight? I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't watch emo crap. Even though you look like an emo, David. I hold a dramatic pause. David looks like a cornered animal staring at the floor, then to the ceiling at anywhere but me. Finally, he lets out a loud sigh, filled with disappointment and embarrassment. Damn it. Alright, I watched everything. All Twilight movies, watched The Lost Boys, Interview with the Vampire, Blade. The idiot who bit me didn't explain anything beyond the basics like, don't go out in the sun, you little punk. I thought maybe those stupid movies had a clue, you know? Hidden all that silly romance and melodrama. Most of it turned out to be bullshit. I read legends, searched for info online. As you can imagine, all supernatural beings try not to give themselves away. But sometimes you still stumble upon bits and pieces. Or crazies, one or the other. My favorite, by the way, was From Dusk Till Dawn. Too bad vampires don't explode in real life. You still haven't told me if you sparkle like Edward Cullen in the sun. He takes a deep, ragged breath. I don't know who Edward Cullen is. No, we don't sparkle. Want to know what happens if I step into the sun? I catch fire in the sun, as if someone poured gasoline on me and lit a match. Do you know what that smells like? Like fried chicken. It's a nasty, excruciating final death. Very brutal. Hot men. Terrible. However, let me ask you one more thing. Go ahead, but hopefully it's not about Twilight. Let's wrap it up for now. I'm ready to tell you my decision. Excellent. He leans a little closer, when suddenly, we hear a wolf howling. I didn't even have time to blink before David vanishes. Now he's a little bat hiding under the counter. Listen up. Don't say anything about me. Sit tight and behave, or you'll feel incredibly shitty. Trust me, if you rat me out to that mutt, I'll find a way to get out and twist your head off. The threat in his voice is completely lacking. Mostly because this voice now comes from a very small, though angry bat. Werewolf. A werewolf is about to come here now. The creature steps inside.
Good evening, sir.
A low rumbling bass, surprisingly calm and friendly. Can I pet you? I'm actually kind of curious. Can I pet you?
Sir? I'm not sure if I understood you correctly. You want to pet me?
He awkwardly shifts from paw to paw.
But that's very unexpected. Of course, flattering, sir. Don't get me wrong. But I'm kind of on duty. Tracking the supernatural.
He looks around nervously.
Alright, you can, but just a little. I guess I still have some important business.
Aww. I reach out and pet him. The fur is warm, soft, and thick. I immediately feel a low vibration. The werewolf is quietly, silently purring. At first, it's a barely noticeable movement, but then his short, fluffy tail starts to wag slowly but confidently from side to side. He's a good boy. A very, very big but good boy. He deserves praise. Even for a monster, he's cute. I'm the Princess Monoko of this gas station. Although David doesn't seem thrilled, I pull my hand back.
Thank you, sir. It's been a while since I've been... Anyway, thank you. So, getting back to the purpose of my visit. Apologies for this sudden intrusion. Edward, you can just call me Eddie. We're chasing down a certain pest. You haven't seen a vampire around here by any chance, have you? You know, the young, a bit scuffy, wearing a leather jacket? You see, here's the story. One of our packs nearly took out a vampire sire and his offspring a few hours ago. It was a tough battle. We suffered losses. We tried to track them, and found one of them, well, more like a pile of ash where he once lay. It seems one bloodsucker offed the other when he was wakened. Their family values are quite lacking. It seems patricide has occurred. David didn't tell me anything about it.
David didn't tell me anything about it. Probably that's why he had all those questions about vampirism. He was trying to get advice on where to go next after killing his creator, but in a completely idiotic way.
You see, sir, vampires are parasites on the body of our society. They drink blood like mosquitoes, but unlike mosquitoes, they kill their victims by draining them dry. They languish in boredom with their immorality, and thus destroy human destinies, play with them, torment them, and deprive a semblance of pleasure from their suffering. They are devoid of true feelings.
I look at David, devoid of any feelings. He's shaking all over.
So, I would be extremely grateful for any help.
Oh, here's another fork in the road. Blackmail David. Slowly glance at the chip jar, then briefly meet David's eyes, hinting he owes a tip. You know what? I'm going to see what happens in this pathway. But we're going to blackmail David. Sorry, David. We need money, and I don't want to eternally suffer. The bat nervously swallows and slowly nods his head. He fully understands my threat. I force a smile and say I haven't seen anything. A quiet, peaceful night. Eddie examines me closely. He's probably catching a faint scent of blood, but my calm demeanor throws him off.
Strange. Well, okay. If he shows up, just give a whistle. We won't far away from here. Good night, sir.
The werewolf goes off to his important wolf business. David crawls out from his hiding spot. He throws a few bills into the jar.
Here's your damn money. Choke on it.
Well, my relationship with David is now gone. Or nearly gone. He leaves without saying goodbye. I can't tell if he's mad because a mortal swindled him like a sucker or because I saw him at the moment of weakness. Will his fragile ego survive this blow? Maybe I'll find out. Either way, there's one less vampire at the gas station. Another satisfied customer. I survived another visitor. It seems I'm starting to get used to this job. Wiping off the sticky residue, hoping it was just spilled soda from the counter, I suddenly hear the crunch of gravel outside. Hooves? This is definitely not another vampire. You look like a tiefling from Baldur's Gate. The stranger leans against the counter trying to look casual, but the way his tail twitches betrays his nervous tensions.
Hi.
He clears his throat.
Hello, pretty boy. My name is Victor. Aren't your parents pirates by any chance?
No, sir, my friends aren't pirates. Aren't your parents farmers by any chance? You mean they are rich? No, sir, I'm not pirates. I can almost read it in his eyes. I practiced this so many times and I'm still stumbling. He breathes in fits and starts to force a nervous, trembling smile.
It's very surprising that they aren't pirates, because you are a real gem, sir. You illuminate this dirty gas station with your glow. I mean, you clean it very well. This is not a compliment to you, it's just, forget it. You are a gem. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, let's smile. I already like this dude. I give him a light, hesitant smile. It's a bit awkward, a bit forced, but undoubtedly encouraging. Victor awkwardly smiles back, wagging his tail a little. He's incredibly happy that I didn't start an exorcism ritual, or didn't call security, though. There is probably none anyway, or worst of all, the security of this establishment is my responsibility. Then his smile gradually fades, and he looks away nervously.
May I ask a question?
His face is burning. Victor takes another deep, frantic breath. His stomach is growling so horribly. I hope this guy is okay.
Is it really that bad? I mean, is my flirting technique really that horrible?
This is the worst day of my life to have ears. Let's be nice. Awkwardness is a great style. I liked it. That could be good in acting if you have a nervous style. This might be the best compliment he's ever heard in his life. Probably the only one.
You liked it?
His voice mixes surprised disbelief and a shy glimmer of joy.
I'm glad you like the awkwardness, because I have plenty of it. You probably noticed.
Right off the bat, is it really written on my face?
Actually, I initially chose this tactic to charm you, sir. Of course, everything went according to plan.
He coughs shyly and mumbles something to himself. Then he shifts his gaze back to me.
Actually, sir, I'm here to inquire.
He doesn't get to finish. We have a visitor. She stands next to the counter, clicking her mandibles impatiently. 2 packs of bsky, a pack of screaming cheese, and a bag of fairy fingers, darling. By the way, your gas attendant is a real sweetheart. It's frightening to imagine what my invisible colleague looks like. He hasn't even bothered to say hello. And hurry up. I need to rush. I have a lot of work waiting for me today. I start to pack the order. At the same time, this incubus awkwardly tries to hit on the lady. And I thought we had something special. Apparently, the failed Casanova decided to try his luck on a new victim.
Wow, you seem, so busy and cool, Mom. And you must have a very wonderful job.
She starts clicking her mandibles energetically, producing a buzzing sound that vaguely resembles laughter. Wonderful? Oh yes, wonderful. Wonderful for those who don't like to eat, sleep, or see their children grow. Really, the best job in all 9 worlds. Speaking of children. Victor barely recovers from her sarcasm when the lady immediately pulls a wallet out of her bag and unfolds it. Over and over. It seems endless. This is Gugu. He has his father's mandibles. Victor gazes into the abyss, and the abyss gazes back. revealing baby pictures. The seduction attempt has failed again. Like any mother, Lady Mantis loved her children and considered it her sacred duty to tell every passing incubus about them. This is Gugo. He's in his rebel phase right now. He pierced his mandibles. Can you imagine? He makes such a racket when he eats. The image of a larvae in a biker jacket makes me snort. It reminds me of David. And this is Gege and Gaga. They're still larvae, but already so talented. What talents can larvae have? They just lie there and eat. I do too, though. Wait, don't even think about that. You have very beautiful children, Mom. All 20 of them, incredibly cute. That's just the first wallet. We gotta help him. Her voice is making my voice hurt, and Victor here just has to bear the blunt of it all. Oh, I got a bit carried away. I really am in a hurry. Here, your money, darling. Victor watches her disappear into the night, then turns to me with a grateful look. Thank you, sir. I couldn't imagine 20 more kids. To be honest, I already broke down at the 8th. And I thought looking after a cat was hard. The lady left very little in tips. Probably all her money went to her children. Victor suddenly remembers he came here to buy something. However, my visitors rarely recall that. I need a book. Victor scans my stinking supernatural realm of discount rot and chocolate bars. It's a guide for, well, you know, succubi and incubi. I can't remember what it's called, but I definitely heard something about it. Could you take a look? It's definitely not for me. It's for my less experienced friend, because I'm, employee of the month in my lair. He didn't specify whether he was the worst or the best employee of the month. Well, you know, life forcing harvesting for dummies or something like that. I hear him mumbling quietly to himself. Such a shame. I should have stayed home and rewatched Evangelion the 10th time. I still have to watch the final movie though, that third movie. I'm heading to the storage room. Maybe I'll watch that sometime later on today. Just a few hours before I was rushing around here looking for blood for a very hungry monster. Now all these vials, eyes, and tentacles seem less ominous. A gigantic dead moth lies on top of one of the boxes, or perhaps just very tired. I'm rummaging through the book section deep in between baboon metaphysics and limits of patience of your dead servants. I find the desired volume. I come back from the storage room holding this forbidden mind-bending treatise titled Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Demons and Everything You Didn't Want to Know About Them. Wow, this definitely is better than those PDF guides from various sites for, never mind who. Clearly not for the whole family. Let's study it. Yes, it would be very unusual if you just paid me, tipped me, and then moved along. I expect too much from this life. But in fact, it would be entertaining. It would be an entertaining educational lesson. It certainly won't be necessary. And the guy looks like those pictures are enough to make him faint. The sooner this is over, the sooner I can send him on his way. We find a cozy spot next to the counter. I pull this grimoire closer. I open the book, and the pages, yellowed and brittle with age, release a cloud of dust and indecent, horrifying desires. Incubi, the nature of the tempting rogue, who's of desire. Tempting rogues, Oh, that's me. Yes, definitely me. Whose are just like mine. You have no idea how awful they clump, especially on tiles. When you sneak to the fridge at night, the whole house wakes up with you. Everyone thinks there's a big clumsy cow living in your apartment. Yeah, I think you really are an incubus. They're all purple. You know, Victor, you look more like a sleep paralysis demon. Victor is a likable character. I think I'm gonna choose this one. Oh, you're right. All incubi really are purple. I thought my skin color was just some kind of coincidence. You know, like when they create a character in a video game and just spin the color wheel until you stumble upon something weird. He gives me a cautious look, as if not entirely sure about the coolness of his purple hue. Purple is a lame color. I hate eggplants. I love the color purple. Too bad I'm not purple. You know what I mean? I know what you mean. When I was created, someone also spun the wheel. By the way, I was created in spore. I don't know what that means, but I wish I was purple. Aw. His face immediately brightens with a smile. Yeah, well, I think it's pretty cool too. It's nice to know you like my... what's it called? Demonic phenotype. Uh-huh. Victor turns his attention back to the book and runs his clawed finger down the lines. Incubi, appreciators of the vibrant hues of the soul, they draw power not from blood or life force, but from the pure, potent energy of mortal emotions. And although a refined bouquet of positive emotions is the preferred ambrosia, what a fancy word. A practitioner can also sustain themselves to a more coarse, fickle energies of negativity. Despair, horror, and humiliation provide a quick, albeit unpleasant, rush of power. It's no wonder that now, after an argument with someone in the comets, I feel like I've eaten a few raisins. Judging by the expression on his face, he clearly isn't cut out for horrors and humiliations. His limit is probably arguing on 4chan. Also a kind of source of horrors and humiliations, but still, it's a bit different. An incubi can, albeit less effectively, form a symbolic connection by feeding off a single, consenting mortal vessel. The mortal vessel, in turn, can absorb some of the power from the incubus, among other things, their immorality. Wow, that sounds like a decent deal. I certainly always have plenty of emotions, mostly hatred for the fact that to earn money, you have to work. A whole mountain of raisins for Victor, or whatever he called it. What a relief. Just one person. I thought of having to chase after a whole bunch of strangers made me feel sick. Strangers are the scariest thing right after rent, but I love communicating. Well, sometimes we'll just stay silent. Victor flips through the grimoire, reading the chapter titles. Techniques of rogue selections, juicy emotional juices, using lavish energies for thaumaturgical purposes. I don't even want to know. I just want to not starve without energy and maybe pay my rent. I don't need to be in a lusty cousin of Doctor Strange. His finger finally jabs at a random chapter title somewhere in the middle. Love letters. It seems completely and irrecoverably outdated, especially that part about carrier pigeon colors. Love letters? Who writes love letters anymore? This should apply to text messages now, right? But this is a good start. Let's work on this before moving on to more complex seduction methods. He pulls out a pen from somewhere, a cheap ballpoint with a little anime cat charm at the end. I hand him a grease-stained napkin, like everything in this rotten place. The book says to convey aching adoration, and a hint of forbidden desire. Victor starts scribbling something on the napkin. A meme. Maybe something like this. I guess that works. Really? You think so? Thanks. I mean, it's obviously a silly picture, but it has a lot of layers of meaning, you know? It's like saying, I'm just a humble being unworthy of your gaze, but I'm supported by only crumbs of your attention. Victor continues to flip through the book. Recognizing the desires of the vessel, he scans the first few lines of text. It's all about observing subtle hints, interpreting body language, and engaging in candid conversations to uncover the special nature of mortal cardinal desires. He glances at me. What does Vessel Temporal want? The vessel wants money. The vessel wants stable mental health. Fame, love, and adoration. The vessel wants to become the new Sandro Basili. I don't know who that is either. Human sofa and cuddles on it. Oh. Another tough choice. I want... Let's just say money. Victor, who is expecting some incredible revelation, blinks in surprise. Oh, right, of course, that makes sense. And with this, we can walk with it. It says here that incubi naturally attract values, including material ones, and they always have something to offer mortals. Well, to anger the sensual aspect with the material, honestly. Well, honestly, my finances have been okay lately. I'm curious. Where exactly does he sell his soul? I felt like I've been selling mine to my employers my whole life. But somehow it's always for $3 an hour. We continue to study this villainous seduction manual. The art of verbal seduction and slippery flattery. To his surprise, Victor finds no mention of the fact that pirate compliments work on living people. We examine the first paragraph where words are labeled as keys to the treasure chest of the heart, and flattery is described as a powerful asphoretic for the ego. It's all very dramatic, but the idea is quite simple. Say nice things, don't say unpleasant things. Huh. This is definitely outdated. If I tell someone that his eyes are double gateways to the champ's Easy's, I'll definitely get sprayed with pepper. And this, good lord, when I kiss you, I tremble like a paralyzed beggar. How is that even supposed to work? No, that's too much even for me. Victor clears his throat. His gaze slides over me, trying to latch onto something particularly attractive about my appearance. You have very elegant ear shape. Aw, thank you, Victor. No problem. I mean, they really are. They have a very elegant curve. Aesthetically pleasing. 11 out of 10 on the ear attractiveness scale. Ears on my head are an 11 out of 10. Will there ever be a happier day in my life? He takes a deep breath, gathering his courage for another compliment. For a while, he tries to find some foothold to latch onto, but he can't seem to find the words. You are a multi-faced person. You combine so much. I don't know how exactly to describe it. He lets out a quiet chuckle. But I like that you're so unpredictable. A lot of stress, of course, but it's incredibly fun. Now my unpredictability is a source of stress for someone else. How wonderful. That wasn't bad. He smiles gently in response. Despite everything, he starts to relax. He's probably beginning to feel more comfortable around me. I would have never thought a monster would have to struggle with discomfort from interacting with a mortal soul, and not the other way around. Another chapter. How to be a mirror. I didn't know we could change. Oh, it's metaphorical. The text describes the principle of mirroring, subtly borrowing mannerisms, speech patterns, and even expressed opinions of the victim to create a sense of closeness and understanding. The path of least resistance to gain mortal attachment. Oh no. What about all this stuff about just be yourself and everything will work out? My mom lied to me, didn't she? With similar interests, ugh. What do ordinary people like? Football and the weather? Definitely not anime and Dark Souls. Discussing the brilliant soundtrack of Silent Hill with people is a bad idea, that's for sure. I mean, I like Baldur's Gate, but the UI is hard to understand. Alright, practice. The book says that practice is the key to success. Victor lifts his gaze to me. Play along with me, please, like we just met. Beautiful mortal soul, I have appeared to you in half-dreams so many times, but I finally decided to find you in reality. I won't go so easily again. Even though the words aren't the most elegant, there's something supernatural about them. I still begin to feel a pull. A shiver runs down my spine. Let's give in to the feeling. Give into it. He moves closer, his movements suddenly becoming smooth and eerily graceful. The words this creature now speaks bypass my mind and penetrate straight into some primal parts of my brain. I play along, but parts of me realize this isn't entirely a game. I'm a mortal being, and he's a demon from hell who came for my wretched soul. I know this is dangerous, mortal, that it's wrong, it's forbidden fruit, but doesn't that make it all the sweeter? Oh no, the last remnants of reason within me protest. Oh yes, everything else replies. I lean into him with my whole body, eager to hear the last forbidden, incredibly sensual. Ow, damn it, my leg just cramped. The resonant hum abruptly cuts off. We're back in that little gas station. Sorry, I couldn't hold that seductive pose for more than 10 minutes. But it seemed like we were doing pretty well, right? What even was that thing? He's flipping through the treacy a bit longer before letting out a sigh. His stomach growls again. It seems he could use an emotional snack. I think we covered all the important stuff. I suppose it's time to wrap things up. He starts to rise from the floor. Wait, how did it happen that no one explained anything to you? Even I had a briefing, a 2-minute one. I tell you, but promise you won't laugh. I promised, Victor. Relief watches over his face. Yes, wonderful. I accidentally sold my soul on the darknet. He holds a dramatic pause. We're not gonna laugh, let's go on. Damn it, what an idiot I was. I dropped out of college back then because of constant stress, moved into a tiny dump, and barely left my apartment. I was scrapping by with some freelance work. I talked, well, sometimes I chatted on various anonymous folks from 4chan, people without names, gender, or age. And then I stumbled upon a stupid ad. What did I have to lose? Definitely not a demon 7566. In the chat offered me a chance to escape loneliness. Later, after I turned into this creature, he told me I did it for laughs. He left no instructions, just wrote "get good" in the chat and deleted all contacts. He was curious to see if I could handle it. His chance to escape loneliness turned out to be putting me in an incredibly deadly situation. He lifts his eyes to me. The memory is a fresh wound for him, but before I can respond, he jumps up from the floor. But I've already wasted enough of your time. He clops his way to the counter. Well, to be honest, I didn't really understand much. Those chapters are so strange. He lets out a quiet chuckle. But you know what? It was great. I haven't had this much fun in a while. I think I even ate properly, finally. Positive energy, I mean. Thanks for lunch. I'm not sure if I need to pay for that too, but I'll leave some money just in case. His tail twitches awkwardly. I haven't really interacted with people since college killed my will to live. It felt strange not to feel like such an idiot around someone. Thank you very much. He tosses some money into the jar. He then takes a deep breath and adds, and, maybe someday we could, well, hang out together. Not as a lesson, just play some silly games like friends. Victor, you're always welcome to hang out with me. Why not just as friends? We could make it a date. Yeah, Victor. A date? His tail starts waggling wildly, knocking over 3 bags of chips, a can of soda, and a bottle of Gloomy D. I'm in. Of course, I'm ready. He struggles to rein in the flow of enthusiasm and takes a frantic breath. See you then. Goodbye. Bye, Temporal. Good luck with your shift. It was nice to meet you. The gas station returned to silence, broken only by the hum of refrigerators and my own 2 loud thoughts. So, a crazy god, a vampire thug, and a shy incubus walk into a gas station. Sounds like the start of a really bad joke. My life is now a joke. Just great. I just wanted to pay my bills. I didn't sign up for interdimensional quarrels and therapy sessions for the undead. But on the other hand, I wasn't eaten, and I wasn't turned into a piece of furniture. By the standards of this night, that's a resounding success. I glanced cautiously at the door to Bob's office. There was a low, guttural humming, like a giant, disgruntled computer tower was working inside. The clock on the wall indicated that it was the end of my shift. With a heavy sigh of relief, I began closing up the place. We filled up our tip jar, Bob. Finally, I walked out of the front door, inserted the key into the lock, and was about to turn it when suddenly... Organism! I jump in place, nearly dropping everything. Organism! Your performance has exceeded all of my algebraic predictions by 43 or 47.3%. You are not just an organism, you are an efficient, flawless machine for generating currency. I am feeling an emotion of your kind described as marginal pride. If you keep up the good work, then possibly of receiving a 25% bonus will become not just hypothetical, but quite real. Go, organism. Restore your energy resources in return for further exploitation. What a relief. He vanished as suddenly as he had appeared, leaving nothing but ringing silence behind. I stood for a few seconds processing what I heard, then slowly turned the key to the lock. Click. First shift completed. I survived. And now I can do anything, which means... Okay, I'm going to save here and stop for today, Novabites. This video is almost 2 hours long, so I'm really invested in this game and we'll continue it another time.